Good morning. It's January 14th on Thursday, and I'm unavailable to be teaching today, so we're going to do this by video. First, correcting the homework, number 37. Each tile pattern is going to be a little bit different for each of you, so we don't have a key for that. Letter B, each figure has 4 more tiles than the figure before it. Letter C, we get an equation of y equals 4x plus 5. Number 38, we have figure 0 with 7 tiles and figure 1 with 9 tiles. That means that it's growing by 2. So our rule is y equals 2x plus 7. Number 39a, you get all numbers, and 39b, x equals 8/3. Please do not change that to a repeating decimal. Repeating decimals, we always end up losing some accuracy because we have to round off. So leave it as 8/3 as that fraction. Quick review of y equals mx plus b, finding the rule for an equation. If we're trying to come up with the growth and our starting value, the starting value is the easy one right here. So we start at 3. Make sure you're paying attention to the values on the axes. And to get from one point to another point, when x gets bigger by 1, the y value gets bigger by 2. Once again, pay attention to those values. If this is 2 and this is 4, we started at 3. We ended up at 5. From 3 to 5 went up 2. So let me get rid of that now. So we have y equals 2x for our growth plus 3, our figure 0. Now we're going to look and see what can we use this idea of the growth and the starting value, m and b, to find an equation of a line from its table. So if we know the information about a linear pattern in this table, how can we find the equation of the line? So if we complete the table, we can find the rule. So we start at -2. We're going to add 5. We get to 3. You're going to continue to add 5. We get 8, and so forth. In our equation, all we need to know is y equals, what is our growth? Our growth is that increase as x gets bigger by 1, the y value gets bigger by 5. So our growth is 5. And that happens repeatedly. So we're going to multiply it by x, our figure number. And then we look at what is the y value when x is 0. So when x is 0, our y value was -2. That's where we're starting. You can say plus -2, or you can just say subtract 2. Same answer either way. And again, I got to erase this to get to my next slide. So you need to use the same idea to find the rule for the linear pattern represented here. You'll notice that it says you can draw anywhere on the slide. You need to write the rule for both of these tables. The link to the Pear Deck is in this Schoology assignment. Then it says use the rule to get a pattern. So we're going to draw figures 0, 1, 2, and 3 for a pattern that starts off according to this rule. So if y equals 4x plus 3, we know that we're starting with 3 tiles. You have to decide how you want to arrange those 3 tiles. Our growth is that number that we're always multiplying by x. So once again, once we know where our 3 tiles are to start with, then you're going to decide where will you always add your 4 tiles, and you're going to create the pattern. I cannot emphasize to you enough, you need to always be adding the tiles in the exact same location. There should never be an instance where you're not sure where to add it. If you're always adding on the top right, then it's always the top right. If you add tiles to the bottom left, then it's always to the bottom left. You can add tiles in different locations within a figure, but then you need to add them in those same locations on the next one. So just be consistent. And again, I got to get rid of this before we can move on to the next page, or you're going to see all this writing on the next one. Okay, the second one, we have a little bit different pattern because the tile pattern decreases by 2. So if figure 2 has 8 tiles, here's figure 0, figure 1, figure 2 is going to have 8 tiles. You've got to figure out how would you draw figure 1 and 0, and then go forward for figure 3. You're designing your own pattern, but every time you're going up, it goes down by 2 tiles. So you need to take away 2 tiles for each one. Same thing, you're going to do this in Pear Deck. And then at the very end, you have your homework, which is lesson 414, numbers 40 and 41. If you have questions, you can try asking a peer. You can attempt to ask one of the teachers in class, or write it down and we'll go over it again tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day today.